Okay, we'll now go into one of the apps. I'm going to go to the Asset Manager app because I want to show you how the screens work in teamwork, and whatever we learn in this area applies to all of the apps, so you pretty much will learn how to work in teamwork. When you go into an app, it opens up a table. Typically, this is a small table, 2 rows. In this case, it's the plant table. There's an east plant and a west plant, and you see some tooltips of some tools here that we'll use in a minute. I can see that the east plant has 6 items in that. It shows the drill down tools show that there's 6 items in that drill down and 0 for that one. So I'm going to click on the 6, and I'll find myself in a table with 6 rows and a new tab with the same name as the drill down. So we went from the first tab, we drilled down, clicked on that, and it opened a new tab with the name of the drill down. So it's pretty easy to see how that happened. And what we're now seeing is these 6 rows, and they have column names, as you can see. If I click on a column header, I get an arrow beside it and a number 1 that shows that it's now sorted by that column. If I click on it again, that arrow points downwards and it's sorted in reverse order. And you can do that with multiple columns. What I'm going to now look at and see is the drill down from here. See, the hydro processing units have 9, and this one has 8. I'm going to click on the one that has 9 hydro processing units. So now I've got another operating unit. Let's see, that drill down was called operating units, and that's what it is. And when we drilled in, it opened a new tab called operating unit. And we have again a series of rows, in this case 9, and if I click on that, I've got an alphabetical list of those units in zone area 2 in the east plant. You can see that we've kind of got a reminder of where we drilled from. And if I drill again into the CRU unit, I can see there's 86 equipment assets, and if I let that happen, I've now got those 86 assets showing on my list here, of which they're broken into 50 page groupings, and you can change the page groupings to 100. The bigger the number, the longer it takes to load the screen. The smaller the number, the faster the screen loads, because it's just a matter of amount of rows being sent to your screen. I usually stay with a smaller number so it goes faster, because I can find anything I want in that list. So here we are with 86 rows, and you can see there's a few more drill downs that have shown up here. So each tab that we go to ends up with its own drill downs, and there's tooltips to help you figure out what's under each drill down. We also, now let's say that this could be it's 86 rows, but it could be thousands of rows or hundreds of rows. How would we know what we want to look for? So let's just look at this for a moment, and I think you can see that this asset type here is a common thing. So for instance, there's DRM, which is drum, and you can see there's a tooltip that shows up. Now if I right click that cell and I say view values in use, I basically right click something in that column, and it says, say, view values in use. That's a good way to see all of the unique entries in that column. So if I do that, I can now see that there's something called that. Those two look like something that we may need to update and clean up. But it's a quick way to find out everything that's in your system, or in your operating unit in this case. And there's 22 EXs, which I'm guessing are exchangers, so we'll click on that. You can actually click on that and something magical happens. It goes red, and there's a little filter icon that shows up there indicating that it's now and it's also red up here, and that filter icon shows there. So a lot of things are telling you that you're now looking at 22 rows, but those are not all the data that's in that operating unit. It's just what we call the microselected list. It's a selection of what's in that. So what we've just introduced to you here is the microselection feature. We may then say that we want to get rid of that and want to go back to the whole list. You can right click again anywhere in that column, and you can, there's an option right down there that says remove microselections, or you can come up here and edit the microselection and add more microselections if you wish. For instance, you could do something like this. I want everything that's equal to EX, and then we can do a plus or and here. Duplicate, and say equal to drum. So we want our exchanges and our drums. But this here, you've got to be a little careful here, because this says show me every asset type that's equal to exchanges and equal to drum, but really we want it to be or equal to drum. You want the exchanges or drums. So we just change that, and now we shall see exchangers. If you scroll down a little bit further, or maybe to the next page, there's the DRMs for the drums. So we basically got a few more rows, and that's the microselect feature. If you want to get rid of the microselect, you just come over here and remove it. So it's a very useful tool when you're working with a lot of data to be able to select and see your data. It's similar to the filter tool in an Excel spreadsheet. I think there's one other thing you could learn here, and that is this tool here is a show hide columns tool, and if you click on it, you can drag columns off of the screen to the left, and it won't be on here anymore. You can also just drag columns this way if you wish to move them around here. So you can sort, you can select, and you can move columns and hide columns. If you had the right to do this, which as user tester, this particular user doesn't have it, but you'd be able to hit plus here and add new rows. But there is no plus, meaning that this user doesn't have that right. And the save button is not available because there's nothing to save. And there's a duplicate button that would go along with this if duplication was available, which it's not. And so that pretty much summarizes what you can do on a grid here. If there was reports available, you could click this button and it would show you that there was reports. If not, you could say, hey, we'd like to get some reports, and we can help you with that and get you a report ready. Maybe a quick report that looks like this, and a few other features here. I'll talk about this. This is just a refresh table. If you make some changes, sometimes it helps to refresh your screen. This is one way to do it. This we've talked about is the hiding or unhiding of columns. So if we want to bring parent equipment back, we can do that. And parent equipment, by the way, is the parent of this equipment. So if exchanger belonged to a bigger equipment, you could pick it from a pick list and put it in here. You can see that these are all locked, and the reason they're locked is to protect the data. Again, it's based on the user criteria. That's your filter tool, and that's a sort order tool, which we don't have any sort orders. So I'm going to stop right now because it's a long video, and we'll talk about something else next. Bye.